My skin looks the best it's ever looked right now. I'm so glad I caught it on camera. Okay, so today we're going to be underpainting. I'm going to show you how I do underpainting. Say underpainting one more time. I learnt the technique from numerous makeup artists. The main two being celebrity makeup artists Scott Barnes and Patrick Ta. So I'm going to merge both of their techniques together and show you how I do it. Why do makeup artists do underpainting? It's because you get to layer the products on the skin without over layering. So you're actually putting less product on, even though it looks like you're putting more on at first. By the end of the look, you haven't actually layered any products on top of each other. It's more that each product has its own section. So I'm just gonna come a little bit closer so you can actually see what we're doing today. So make sure you've already got your skin prepped. However you prep your skin for your skin type, whether it's moisturiser, primer, your skincare, do all of that first. So the first thing you're going to put on for underpainting is your cream bronzer. We're not used to putting this on straight away. You would have seen me use this before. This is the P. Louise Spoilt for Choice cream bronzer in shade Toffee Toast. So you want this to look heavy at first. Now, because this is a bronzing shade, I don't put this where you put contour. So contour and bronzer are different. Contour you'd have lower down where your shadows naturally are. Bronzer I like to go higher up so you get that nice lift and it gives you a bronzy warm look. So this is a warm bronzer that I'm using. So I'm going to apply this high up on my cheekbone. I'm going to pat that into the skin, but I'm not going to blend it completely out. Like I said, you want this to be quite striking and strong at first. I promise you, once the foundation goes on, this blends the most beautifully, more than doing this the other way around. I'm going to apply this around my forehead, everywhere that you would usually. You're doing the exact same placement, except you're putting it on first. Same with the jawline. I'm just going to brush that along. And you would have noticed that I've actually not got my eye makeup on yet. I do usually do this after I've done my eye makeup, but I am doing a look today that's a bit extravagant, so I thought I would do the skin first so it doesn't look bizarre for the whole look. I'm going to take a smaller brush and apply this bronzer on the outer corner of the eye. This is going to do all of the eye contouring and then go under the front part of the brow and down the nose. This is going to mesh your eye look into the rest of your base. When I apply my bronzer, you'll notice that I apply it in an upwards motion. You can see at my temple that I've applied this going up towards my temple from my eye. That is going to give you that facelift effect. It's something that I get asked a lot by clients and brides, that they want to look lifted. This is how you're going to get that lifted look. It's all about applying your products higher up and going in an upwards motion. So this looks interesting at the moment. If you were to do this the other way around, you would never have it that harsh on top of your foundation, but this is how underpainting works. The next thing I'm going to go in with is actually my blush. The blush I'm going to go in with today is the Beauty Crop Juice Pots. These are really, really nice. They're so diddy, but at the same time you get so much in it, so it's saving so much space. This is in shade Lychee. I'm going to apply this right above that bronzer, but you also want this to mesh in with your bronzer. You want it layered slightly on top of it. That way you won't have two stripes on your face. They'll blend in beautifully, seamlessly, and not just look like two stripes, which I feel like is one of the things I hear all the time. Using a brush to pat that in, again, I want this to be intense, so I don't want to blend this right out because I don't want to lose that pigment. And I'm going to bring it underneath the eyes as well because I do like a really blushy underneath my eyes. See how pigmented that is? Oh my god, I love it. So you might be thinking I look like a clown right now. Yes, that means you're on the right track. Now, there's numerous ways to do underpainting, but I'm going to show you my favourite way of underpainting. You can put your concealer on now, but I actually prefer to do the foundation now and then the concealer after. Foundation I'm going to go in with is the House Labs foundation. This is in shade 250. This is a very glowy foundation. It's one of my favourite foundations ever. If you have dry skin, I have dry flaky skin, especially on my head. I am pregnant at the moment, so my hormones are all over the place with my skin, so I've got to use everything very sensitive and everything's got to be glowy, otherwise it's going to attach to dry areas. And this is actually one of my favourite bits of underpainting. You want to take one pump, just one, onto a palette. I'm using, don't ask what I'm using right now, I'm using some packaging. And then what you want to do is spread this all around the palette so it shears the product right out. It means you're not overpiling the foundation and not overusing foundation. You're using just enough. You're then going to take your damp beauty blender, damp, and dip into this one time like that. I'm now going to fill in the areas that I've got nothing on my skin, and you'll be surprised how little foundation you actually need. It surprised me the first time round, and it just means you're not over layering, you're not having that really heavy thick foundation, but you're still getting that coverage. That one pump has already done half of my face. It won't do my forehead, but it's already done all down here. See how the skin still looks like your skin, and it's covered up what needs to be covered up, but anything that's not covered, you can use your concealer, but it still looks flawless, but you've still got that coverage. I'm gonna pick up one more with the sponge and do my forehead. I do have a biggish forehead, so I do need a whole dab just for that bit. If I was doing this the other way round and I was doing my foundation first and then all the other products on top, usually I take out 2 to 3 pumps with foundation, I find, and kind of just whack it all on, but this works so well this way round. Once you've got the foundation on, now we blend out the underpainting. So what's left on your sponge, you're going to go around that bronzer, round the edges, go slightly over it. I am right on top of that blush and bronzer right now. I'm just not dabbing really hard. I'm just being nice and light. Look at that blur, that blend. This is what I love. Like, it blends seamlessly. Nothing blends like underpainting does. Love this technique. This is why it's important for it to be intense at first, because you are going over it with foundation. Not loads of foundation, but you are blending later down the line. So that's the main part of the underpainting done. Next is the concealer. I'm going to go in with the Kylie Cosmetics concealer. This is so underrated. This is in shade 2N. It might be slightly light. And I'm going to conceal the exact same way as I usually do. I'm going to create a bit more structure with the concealer, and I think I will carve my brows now as well whilst I'm at it, because I'm doing that base underneath. I'm going to want that base on my eyelid as well, ready to do my eyeshadows. On the outer corner, you want to go in that upwards motion to create that lift. If you don't want to lift, you don't have to do these steps or go in that direction. What I'm doing right now is not essential. I do like a nose contour. I do like a sculpted nose. This is going to give you that sculpted look. It's not something you have to do, especially for day to day. Using the same sponge, I'm just going to pat this into the skin. When you use your beauty blender, only pat. I find that when I used to teach, I used to see a lot of the time people using their sponge, and instead of dabbing, they would dab but swipe at the same time, so you're dragging on the skin. You want your sponge to bounce on the skin. And when you blend, blend in the direction that you want to go. Don't just blend the product out. You want to blend it going in that direction. See how I'm patting out the concealer, following that line, going upwards towards the temple. The concealer going against that bronzer shade has created a natural lift. It almost looks like I'm wearing eyeshadow right now, which I basically am because there's cream bronzer there. So it's giving you that lifted look without even doing any eyeshadow. I'm going to show you how I set the skin now, because that is an important step. Although underpainting is now done, I'm going to show you how you're going to set your products on top of underpainting to make it look its best. I'm going to go in with 2 setting powders. I love and use all the time the Huda Beauty powders. I'm going to go in with Pound Cake, which is this one here, but also Cherry Blossom on the outer corner where my blush is. 100% and essential is a powder puff. I promise you, this one thing will change your entire makeup routine. It will make your makeup last so much longer, look so much smoother. It is the best product ever to use on your skin. Pick up the powder. As you can see, it's quite a lot on there, and you want to pat this onto your hand or wherever you want to pat it, just to reduce some of that powder. And pat this underneath the eyes first. Make sure you do this as quickly as you can after you've taken the sponge off of your skin. That way you've got no creasing. You're going straight in with that powder and setting it so you're getting no creasing. Depending on your skin type, you will change the way that you set your skin. If you have really oily skin everywhere, then set everywhere. But like I said, I've got dry skin, very dry skin. So I like to just set this very finely underneath the eyes being the most important area, and then my T-zone. But again, I don't put much on my forehead because it is so dry. See how smooth that looks? I'm obsessed. My skin looks the best it's ever looked right now. I'm so glad I caught it on camera. If this was my wedding day and I had this makeup, maybe a little bit less nose contour, I'd be buzzing. My skin doesn't look dry, it doesn't look flaky, it looks flawless and full coverage, but not intense, not stripy. Okay, I'm back with the finished look. I told you I was going to look crazy. I completely forgot that I was doing this eye look and then thought, oh, I told you guys I was gonna come back. If you wanna see how I did this, it is on my TikTok account where I post daily on there as well. The only thing that I have done since I last saw you is put some blush on. I've not actually put on any more bronzer. It's just blush. So I set the skin, you saw me set the skin, and I put blush on. Otherwise, everything else is exactly the same. I love it. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you're gonna try out this technique or if you already have. And I'll see you again next Wednesday.